Good morning, welcome to the next podcast of Andy Collier-talks cricket memorabilia. Hope you've had a good week. I've had another good week here. I have to say, some interesting bits and pieces coming in. So anyway, just got to start off on a sad note with the news spreading that passing of Bob Simpson, unfortunately. The great Australian captain, coach, and sort of put them right on the map in the 80s and 90s and changed the face of Australian cricket, really. So very sad to hear this demise of Bob Simpson. So I just got looking for a few bits and pieces that I've got on Bob, which isn't a great deal, really. Got a nice sort of facsimile photograph there with signatures from 1964 when he was captain, and he was one of the few triple centurions, shall I say, with 311 at Old Trafford in the series that they won 1-0. I've got this official sheet there of that 1964 one with Bob as captain, so that's a nice sheet to get hold of. I have to say, I've had that a few years, but pretty good condition. And another nice one from Bob was this one from South Africa. Unfortunately, they lost 3-1 there, but Bob was again captain. What's that, 1966, 67, so a nice sheet there in good condition. And then one facsimile sheet here when he was manager in '89 on the Ashes tour. So just down the bottom there was manager, coach, and that's a bit on Bob Simpson. Oh yeah, great player for Australia. Unfortunately, passed away this week. So a lot of sad faces on Facebook this week, and some lovely memories of the great Bob Simpson. Anyway, just going to a couple of bits that have arrived this week. We've got a lovely card there of Jack Hobbs, 1924. He's got some information on the back there, and it says he's got his 99 test centuries and he's waiting for his 100th. So that was obviously just before 1924 when he got his 100 hundreds down at Somerset. So a nice card there by R&J Hill Limited on the back there. The Alpinet House, established 148 years, so that's a fair old reign there for the R&J Hill. So anyway, that's a nice, good condition card there, once again in his MCC cap. Now on Wednesday, I had a fascinating collection. I had to go and collect it actually, which bits from a Surrey collector. And I've got this one here, which is all the great Surrey great players there. We've got Bobby April there right down to Graham Thorpe, the tragic Graham Thorpe. So some great names on there. And we've got on there Edrich and Fender, Jardine, Peter May. They're all on there. These are County Print Services cards. Artist Mike Tarr. Now I'm not quite sure what date they would be, but I would say they're 80s, something like that. Well, probably 90s probably. So quite a nice little set there of cards. And the thing with these things I'm going to show you, I went and collected them, and the chap's name was Nick. Anyway, when I got there, we had a bit of a chat, and he said, "Oh, you're a bit of a Surrey man." I said, "Yeah, I was there as a young cricketer back in the late 90s, back in the late 70s rather." He said, "Oh, you might know my brother then, David Willett." I said, "Yeah, I know Dave. Yeah, I played a few games with Dave." He said, "Well, I'm his brother, Nick." That's a funny old coincidence there. Anyway, of course, Mike Willett was their father, who played for Surrey for a number of years, mainly in the twos, but I think 170 games in the first team, so quite a few. So a reasonable player. I might be over exaggerating those amount of games, but late 50s or mid 50s to the 60s. Nick told me a lovely story about when Stuart Surridge, obviously when he was captain, the captains had a separate dressing room, and anyway Surrey lost a couple of wickets, and the phone rang in the dressing room, and it was Mike answered it, and it was Stuart Surridge on the phone, and said, "Oh, who are you?" He said, "Well, I'm Mike Willett." He said, "Well, get your pads on, you're in a minute." So it's pretty, I don't think they had a bit of a batting line up there like they used to, but whether that was a county game or not, I don't know, but quite a nice little story. So anyway, a couple of other bits that turned up from that one. is this nice one here. Oval scenes by Alan Fernley. 1964 World Cup. So it's a nice little card there. It's got a nice That's quite a nice little sketch there. Player there, famous gasometer in the pavilion. That's quite a nice one there. A couple of these are going to go over to Ghana actually to start the inner sanctum over there. If you're listening, John, there's going to be one started. So anyway, there's another one here, which is the oval again. And this is, I've got to read this from the front. It's the oval, England v Australia, 1981 by Eric Thompson. The first time a 6 tests have been played in England. The match was drawn. There's 850 copies of that, but quite a nice copy. Again, showing the famous gasometer, which are now going to have lots of flats built inside it. This big one here. It's onwards and upwards there. So there's 3 nice things there that I got from Nick Willett. Anyway, it's certainly coming up to the 300th podcast soon, so I'll get a few bits and pieces up for that and see the highlights of the last year or so. Also, someone asked me to do a little podcast on Bob Appleyard, which I'll probably do in a future date, probably a couple of weeks' time perhaps. Not got a great deal on Bob Appleyard, but he's got a fascinating story. Yeah, that's on an up-and-coming podcast. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this one, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a good week.